Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant video. Doctor's Assistant 1 video, and today I'm doing a video on my thoughts on Series 1 of Class, Doctor Who spin-off based in Coal Hill School with a bunch of characters who, in my opinion, for the most part, were pretty boring. I mean, excluding April, maybe the character of Ram, April and Ram maybe were the two most interesting school characters. Then there was Miss Quill, who was a teacher there. So basically, behind the scenes of this, the reason why Class even became a thing was because in 2016, when it was aired, and that there was no Doctor Who. In all of 2016, there was only one Doctor Who episode, which was the Christmas special, and to fill that void and gap of Doctor Who, the BBC were like, oh, we might as well this spin-off we've thought of. And I think it was a good idea and a good premise. I just think it was a bit boring, lackluster. There was no hype, there was no momentum building up to it. I think more than anything, what really ruined Class was the lack of marketing. There was no marketing for it. The Doctor Who Twitter page ages ago, before it was ever sort of coming out, were like, oh, there's this new thing, Doctor Who news, we're gonna announce it, you know, tomorrow at midnight. And then people were like, oh my god, is this a Paul McGann, you know, Netflix original Paul McGann series? And then instead we got Class. And it's like, you know, so even if Class was like this good, you know, this good even, the McGann thing, even as bad as it could have been, let's say, it would have still been better than Class, you know, even if Class was at its, you know, most highest sort of game, you know, which it wasn't. It was more like it was all the way down here. I mean, I think the best way of describing Class, for me at least, was mediocre, average, okay. You know, it was just sort of there, it was filler, it was nothing interesting. I mean, it had no real substance and oomph to it, and it had no real direction. I can't even remember most of the episodes. There are 8 episodes, and yeah, most of them just felt very meh. You know, either they were they were all above average, but for the most part, I think there was only like 1 or 2 that was like really, really, really bad. But then the rest were just above average, so 6, 7, and at most maybe an 8 out of 10, you know. But none of them stood out to be a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, you know, sensational TV, I must watch this, you know. And I think they shot themselves in the foot by not having any character who was already in the Doctor Who universe be in this show. You know, the thing that I think made Sarah Jane Adventures so successful was the fact that Sarah Jane was in that. What made Torchwood so successful was there was a character who we'd sort of been introduced to in Doctor Who, but there was this need to know more about this character, and Torchwood allowed that to happen. Whereas with, and the same with Sarah Jane, well, less so with Sarah Jane Adventures, but it allowed a classic series Doctor Who companion to do more beyond just Doctor Who. It showed that, you know what, Sarah Jane Smith as a character does have more depth to her. She's more than just Doctor Who. She's more than just being the Doctor's companion. And I think that shows in the show Sarah Jane Adventures. And likewise with Torchwood, it does the same for Captain Jack. You know, we hear about these lost memories he used to have in the first 2-parter we see him in, and we find out that he's part of the Time Agency. And that develops more in sort of Torchwood, you know. We find out about his backstory with his brother. We find out all these different things, where he used to be from, sort of, you know, on an alien planet. You know, and all these different sort of things. But with Class, there's no one like that. There's only maybe the Doctor that we know of, and even then, he's only in the last sort of latter end of the first episode, and the only reason why he's there is literally to get people actually watch Class, which is a shame, really, because again, it should have just been its own thing, not as in its own thing completely away from Doctor Who, but I think it was bold and courageous that BBC did this, but it really did just sort of flop. I think if they got more momentum, more marketing, more hype behind it, more varied writers as well. I think Gallifrey Forever 97 said, you know, if it does get a series 2, there should be more writers. I completely agree with him there. I also agree with him that it should have been released in a sort of almost Netflix original type series way, but on BBC iPlayer, where we got all 8 episodes immediately there and then, instead of having to wait 8 weeks for what is essentially just a 50-50 sort of series, meaning half of it's sort of just a few episodes here and there where there's just one monster and there's quite a bit of character development, and then they beat up the monster fairly easily, or you get your overall story arc stuff, which was really boring and weak, if you ask me. I think the Shadowkin were good in the first story, 2-parter in the middle, they were too involved in that personally, and then by the last one, I just didn't really care too much for them as much. And that, I think if they were just in 1 or 2 stories, I'd have liked their characters more. I also think that the 2-parter, like, what I liked more about that was overshadowed by the Shadowkin, no pun intended, but genuinely I think the sort of subplot about those plants killing people, I thought that was way more better and more interesting, like Torchwood. I think that's the major core problem I have with Class. It has good ideas, but doesn't know how to implement them, or sort of, you know, let them grow into fruition better. You know, it's like they can plant a seed that is an idea on the ground, they try and water it, but then it starts to grow in this direction that, you know, maybe they don't want it to grow that direction, but they don't do anything. They don't start, like, you know, moving it about or trying to direct the show in this direction instead of that direction, you know. I don't know. I mean, again, beyond April and Ram and Miss Quill, I genuinely didn't care for any of the other characters. Tanya was annoying and stupid. Charlie was just a gay character for the sake of being gay. Oh, and he was an alien, so he was a gay alien, so it just felt like it was overkill. And those are like his characteristics. They shouldn't be characteristics. Oh, what type of character is this character? He's a gay alien. He should just be an alien or a gay person, or just, he should, like, those shouldn't be character development type things. They should just be things that character is. What a character should be charming, charismatic, brave, heroic, you know, and that. And I thought he was just dull. I hated his boyfriend, Mateus, or whatever. He was just dull and pointless. And then I think that was pretty much it. Ram was the stereotypical sort of jock type character at first, then he became a bit more developed and better, and I preferred his character, but then he started just becoming really weak and really just sort of frail and emotionally vulnerable, which was such a juxtaposition from where he was at the beginning to where he is in the end. I think Ram's character's best in the middle sort of bit of the series, whereas with April, I think she's alright here and there in parts, in bits and pieces, but then in other bits and pieces she does and says stuff that really cheese me off and piss me off. And I think, again, another thing that pisses me off and fucking pissed me off about this series was the fact that it was like shoving itself down your throat to be new and cutting edge and edgy and that, you know, oh look, we're dropping names, we're dropping, you know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I watch that, I do this, I do that, you know, this thing and that thing, and look, we're cool, we're hip kids, you know, and it just felt like, you know, it felt like a grown-up trying to be cool, and it felt way more like the show was speaking down to its core audience than it was being equal, you know? Whereas Sarah Jane Adventures and both Torchwood were very much equal to both the kids who were watching Sarah Jane Adventures. They felt like they were being accepted into this sort of fun, adventurous-like world, and then with Torchwood, the adults were getting this dark, gritty, serious, mature sort of storytelling. And again, with this, it's very reminiscent of the RTD era, but in and amongst saying that, I mean that both positively and negatively. I think it shows / highlights both the positive and negatives of the RTD era very clearly to me, which is that it gets very boring and stagnated, that we're just in one setting, which is Coal Hill School for most of the time, pretty much, and that we're just set on Earth, and it just gets boring very quickly, and that, you know, and again, the villains are okay, but they don't have too much substance and motives, and again, very reminiscent of some of RTD's era, you know, with his sort of stories. But then on the flip side, there's better character development than, say, recent Doctor Who years, and it feels more grounded because it's on Earth, and we do see the sort of Ram and April's parents and that, so that was nice, whereas like with recent years with Companions, we very rarely see their sort of family, and we don't feel like they're as fleshed out. But then again, the trade-off there is that we get to see all these luscious, amazing, ideally, you know, time periods or alien planets and better aliens. So, you know, it's finding that balance between the two, and I think Class did remind me way too much of RTD's era, both, as I say, in a positive light and a negative light, in the sense that sometimes it just felt like, oh, okay, we're just going to have this bit where we're going through all the boring, you know, Emmerdale sort of almost soap-like, EastEnders-like crap, where April and Ram are, you know, fucking doing it, and that, and I'm like, you know what, I would much prefer an alien, you know, killing someone about now. But it's okay, because an alien starts having sex instead, because April and that alien share a heart, so when she's doing it, there's also an alien doing it. And it's like, no, stop, that needs, no. And then there's a random cameo from the Weeping Angels right at the end of Class as well, which I thought was interesting, and I hope it leads into a Doctor Who episode. But beyond that, I just felt like it wasn't really that necessary. Again, I think Class has it had a lot of potential, but it never did anything with that potential. It never went anywhere with it. I think it's way more experimental and a lot more out there than Doctor Who has been in recent years. But the thing is, this doesn't have that oomph to it because it doesn't have that brand recognition. Doctor Who does. Doctor Who has that mythology and that oomph. You know, it's an establishment already. It's a well-known franchise. So why they don't take risks with it, maybe because of that, is stupid to me and a bit weird to me. But then with Class, it's like they're trying to find what Class is. They're trying from, you know, point A to try and already skip to point B and be all edgy and be all out of this world. But how can you be groundbreakingly different when nothing's gone before it? Because we've never seen what Class is. What is Class? What does it mean to be, you know, the Doctor Who spin-off Class? Does it mean to be like RTD's soap-like episodes where they're set on Earth, like Smith and Jones and Partners in Crime? Or is it more like Midnight and Detained, where it's uber scary and intense and a lot more cutting edge and out there? Or is it more like that that weird Engine one or What Quill Did episode, where that was really intense and dark? Or is it more, again, like, you know, that boring two-parter in the middle where no massively interesting happened? I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know what Class is, aside from a very mediocre TV show, which I won't be watching anytime soon, and I won't be getting the DVD of anytime soon, unless they reduce it from $13.99, which I think is extortionate for what it is. But yeah, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe.